do I have to review this game? No, seriously, do I have to review this game? I mean, I've already reviewed this game. Now, surely that review was terrible, and I made it 2 years ago, but do I have to review this beeping game? I even made a whole Let's Play on it, telling people to avoid this game. This game is just so bad. You could have picked almost any other game in my PS1 collection and it would have been fine. But you had to choose this one. This beeping game. Released in 2000, or 2001 on the PC, for the Sony PlayStation, Sega Dreamcast, Nintendo Game Boy Color, and Windows PC. And this game has received mixed reviews, even though I'm on the negative side of this game. This game is just... it's so bad. Do I have to review this? I mean, I've already covered this game before. Okay. In fact, why even make me review this game? I went to Walt Disney Land in Paris. The key word being Walt Disney Land, not world. They're not even in the same country. But, oh well. Looks like I'm gonna have to revisit this game. And I really don't want to. But I'm going to. Guys, this is Walt Disney World Quest Magical Beeping Tour. Oh wait, I mean Racing Tour. For the Sony Mama Beeping PlayStation. I don't want to review this game, but I'm doing it. Just for every single one of you. I'm revisiting this game, and I'm going to tell you how bad it is. The game was made by Crystal Dynamics and published by Eidos and Disney Interactive. But anyway, the story in this game is so beeping simple that it makes a Mario game look like Shakespeare. No, really. In fact, it's so simple that I'm not even going to show you the opening cutscene. But basically what happens is that there's this fireworks machine which makes fireworks, and Chip and Dale drop their acorns into the machine and then explodes, and then you, the player, have got to find every single piece of the machine before it's the night of the fireworks. The story is just extremely simple and silly, and I don't really have any opinion on it. It's just so simple. But it's a kart racer, so I can't really expect much. But Crash Team Racing and Diddy Kong Racing were kart racers, and they had more complex plots. So what's this game's excuse? But the story is the least of my problems. One thing to keep in mind is that Diddy Kong Racing and Crash Team Racing came out in 1997 and 1999 respectively. And both these games were released in Japan, unlike Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour. And these games are actually fun. And these games were released before Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour. Keep that in mind, guys. Keep that in mind. One thing I will mention is that the load times are very quick, which is a good thing. And just by looking at the gameplay, it looks very suspicious. Now I'm going to do something slightly different than what I usually do. Instead of talking about the gameplay in a lot of detail, even though I still miss out details, and then talk about the graphics, then the music, and the controls in between, and then the negatives and the positives, I'm actually going to start out with the positives, and then I'm going to beep all over the negatives, so be warned. One thing that's kinda neat is that the game actually has a total of 9 languages in the PAL version, but for some reason they picked Swedish, Danish, and Norwegian over Portuguese. So if you only speak Portuguese, you're kinda beat. And if you wait too long, the game will select the language for you, which is kind of annoying. I didn't even press a button. That's solid proof. I didn't press a single button. That was the beeping game. So if you need to go to the toilet, you better choose your language before you go to the toilet. Otherwise, you'd be playing the game in, like, English, and you could be a Norwegian person, and I bet that would suck. First off, the graphics. The graphics actually don't look too bad for a PS1 game released in 2000. I mean, they're smooth, the textures are nice, and overall it's nice to look at. While the frame rate is kind of choppy, and it does tend to drop, and when I say smooth, I don't mean smooth frame rate, I just mean smooth textures. The game still looks quite smooth and quite nice, despite the frame rate issues, which are actually kind of common. The character models especially look better than CTR and Diddy Kong Racing, but everything else is worse, so keep that in mind. The music in this game also isn't that bad. Now surely it's mixed, some songs are most definitely better than others, but overall the soundtrack is the highlight of the game, believe it or not. I mean, the soundtrack is nice to listen to, a lot of it comes from the original rides, and it's just nice to listen to. The sound effects aren't that bad, and the characters make random yelling sounds even though it's very minimal, especially compared to like Diddy Kong Racing and CTR. Trust me, I'll be comparing this game to those two games a lot. And one more thing that I like is that every track has a different vehicle that you drive in. Surely there are only two main types, a car and a boat, but they all look different in each level, and that is actually a pretty neat touch. And every level looks different from each other, but everything else about the game, oh boy, where do I even begin? First off, there are only 10 tracks in the whole game, not including the 3 battle tracks. I mean, compared to Mario Kart 64's 16, Diddy Kong Racing's 20, well, 25 if you count the boss, 26 if you count the boss tracks, and CTR's 18, then you are in a little bit of trouble considering this was 2000. Well, at the very least, it's more than Sonic R and Big Rig over the roads. 5 Motion Grand Prix 3, as in the original Japanese one and not the one that was released worldwide, and Sonic R's 1. It's still not a lot of tracks for 2000, you must admit that. I need to tell myself, I need to stop making Sonic jokes. The character roster isn't much better, in fact, it's a lot worse. Instead of choosing loads of popular Disney characters such as Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, Goofy, and people like that, instead they chose either some of the most obscure Disney characters or characters they just made up for the game. I mean, I know that Chip, Dale, and Jiminy Cricket are official Disney characters, but the rest of these bozos, from what I'm aware, are not. I mean, seriously. They're not very creative, they're lame, and overall they don't belong in this game. Why doesn't this game have that many popular Disney characters? Mickey Mouse only makes a couple of cameos in the game, and even then it's not the real Mickey Mouse, and he never talks to you. While in Disney Golf, Mickey Mouse may not have been playable, but at the very least he had a major role in this game and you saw his actual character model. I mean, if you want to know how little Mickey Mouse is in this game, I mean, imagine if you were playing Mario Kart 8 and Mario wasn't playable at all. And how much did you see him in the game? Well, he was made out of flowers in the intro, and his face was over one of the cursors for one of the stages, and there was a hot air Mario balloon in one level. That's how much Mickey Mouse is in Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour. That much! You don't even see the real character. It's just carvings on him in different forms in the game and very few forms, and it's just freaking awful! But if I can say one thing, at the very least, the made-up characters in this game are a little bit more original than Pink Gold Peach. And yes, fanfiction for Pink Gold Peach exists already. Ah, the world can be so weird sometimes. Also, all of these characters play the beeping same. No differences whatsoever. Or maybe there are differences with each one. But if there was, then Disney Wiki would probably mention it. But it doesn't, so it probably doesn't exist. And if it does exist, then please tell me. And I'd like to mention that this is an extremely minor thing, but the character wheel rotator is inverted!
Why is the camera inverted? Why is the camera inverted? Why is the camera inverted?
Stimpy Lad, were you even listening? I said the character wheel, not the camera! Now, get some hearing aids and listen to me properly, Wrath Cortex hater. I also forgot to mention that Mickey Mouse is there with Walt Disney himself. I bet that even Walt Disney would hate this game, but he died like 45 years ago, so whatever. This game only has 2 game modes, Adventure and Time Trial. That's it. Nothing else, just those 2.
The originality! Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Can you feel it?
And if you can't feel the originality, then I will come to you, and I'll make sure that you never see the light of day again. So you better see that originality! I'm pretty sure I don't need to explain Time Trial, so I'll explain the adventure mode. First off, no hub world. Unlike Diddy Kong Racing and Crash Team Racing, and at the beginning, you only have 1 track from the beginning. I will say that again. You only have 1 track from the beginning. It's not like in CTR where you have 2, and it's not like in Diddy Kong Racing where you collect balloons to unlock more. Oh no, it's just 1 simple, awful track. Genius. This first track is Big Thunder Mountain, and oh boy, is it not fun. I mean, the track is generically designed, it's lame, and it's just not the best track. That, and while I don't remember the original ride in Florida, I'm pretty sure it's absolutely nothing like this. And that's something about the tracks. They are nothing like their original counterparts at all. Absolutely nothing like them, and that is a huge flaw, which is just noticeable if you've been to Disneyland, and it's annoying, and not a single track resembles its original version to the closest contempt. That is kind of a stretch, but these tracks aren't that much like their original counterparts. Plus, there's one theme or ride in Disneyland which is missing in this game, and you can't work out what it is. Well, I'm going to show you which one is missing. And this was 2000, and the ride I'm going to show you definitely exists in 2000, so shush! And this is even the French version that I went to. And I do apologise if I murder any of your ears. Okay, enough of that, and the game even has its own version of the song with no lyrics. I mean, just take a beep and listen. So if they can make their own version of the song, why not make the track? It is one of the most well-known Disney rides, so why not put it in the game? I mean, you could put rides such as Splash Mountain Dinosaur in there, which was a new track at the time. So why couldn't you have that song? Oh wait, because, you know, it probably would have killed everyone's ears and everyone would have hated this game. Which, unfortunately, didn't happen. And when I said song, I meant ride, but it would have had the song, so who cares? Each level has 4 power-ups to collect, a part of the machine, a flag, a trophy, and sparkly thingies. Now, both the flag and the machine part, you both get in the exact same way, winning a race. 1 for each. They didn't even change it at all for the flag. They didn't even try. And as for the trophy, oh boy, let me get into that. In the trophy challenges, there are 8 trophies scattered around the entire track, and you have to collect all 8 of them in 3 minutes. And all I can say is, some of these trophies are hidden in the most annoying places ever. Just go watch my Let's Play on this game if you want to know how annoying some of these trophy challenges can be. And then there are the sparkly things. Oh boy, these sparkly things. There are 8 in each level, and from what I've heard, they make your chance of getting better items more likely. And they are hidden in the track. But the annoying thing is that they randomly generate during each lap. As in, random ones just generate in each lap. It's just so annoying. They randomly generate. It's really beeping annoying, and it's just so annoying. Let me just say that. You don't even know how annoying it is. The fact that you have to wait random laps to collect these random sparkly thingies that aren't always there, and you don't always know where they are, and sometimes, especially in the Pirates of the Caribbean level, you can't backtrack to get all of them. Oh my god, these sparkly challenges along with some of the trophy challenges can just go die in a pool of lava along with this game. They're just that annoying. I mean, the only reason that you should collect these sparkly things is to get more likely items, but I never noticed them. Or if you want 105% completion, and let me tell you this, what do you get for beating the game 105%? Well, you get this. You unlock the 3 unlockable characters. That's right, all 3 of them. There's only 3 of them to unlock. And they play the same as all of the others from what I'm aware of. You don't get a better ending, you get nothing else. It's just, it's so not worth it. And as for the actual tracks themselves, the tracks are awful, and for a racing game, that's not very good. I mean, this Pirates of the Caribbean level, it can go die. Practically all of the tracks are awful. Every track has alternate routes, which are practically superior than other routes, so there's no point of exploring, and it's just so annoying. In games such as Mario Kart, Diddy Kong Racing, and CTR, and do not complain that I'm not holding CTR right now, there are shortcuts which are basically alternate paths which are obviously superior to the other paths, but here's the thing, there's always a risk. They are risky. Without a mushroom, they might be impossible or extremely difficult. They are alternate paths that are risky. If you make them, you can crash and slow down. That is good track design, making the shortcuts risky, but in this piece of beep over here, the shortcuts require no skill, nothing. They just require you to take the pathway and boom, you're taking the shortcut. That's brilliant track design, right? For example, in the Haunted Mansion, by the way, Jiminy Cricket is the only character who talks in the game, but that isn't that important. There are fireplaces which are shortcuts, which you'll never notice, and then there are these staircases, and all I can say is, go to the left, the right is longer, it's so obviously longer, and there are also these free rings. Now this is actually kind of a neat idea in a way. There are 3 rings in each track, and if you go through all 3 rings in a track before it disappears, there will be a shortcut that opens, which is actually kinda cool. But that shortcut closes pretty quickly, and there's practically no indication that the shortcut opens except for the shortcut opening, but you won't always see that unless you're paying a lot of attention, and oh my god, this game just sucks! The only track I can consider decent in this game is Tomorrowland Speedway. First off, the song is kind of catchy, but a bunch of the other songs in the game are kind of catchy as well, so don't worry about that. And second off, this feels like an actual racetrack. It's not like the other ones where it's just a stupid design which is made into a racetrack and it actually passed beta testing. This feels like an actual beeping racetrack which it's actually bearable to race on. And yes, there is an obvious shortcut which has no risk whatsoever. This track is still a lot better than the rest of the beep in this game. And why wasn't this the first track? You don't play this game, or this track, until you're like halfway through the game. That is just dumb, considering that this is the only decent track in the game. That's if you can even call it decent. It's meh. I mean, it's just terrible that the game makes you play it enough to race for a track which actually isn't that bad. That is just absolutely terrible. The rest of the tracks are either extremely mediocre or unbearable. And then there's the coin challenges. These are annoying as well, mainly in Test Track because of Test Track's awful design. I mean, the terrible controls mixed with the poor level design just makes this an annoying coin challenge. It's basically the same as the trophy challenges. You could just tell that they ran out of ideas halfway through development. This game is just, I know I've said it before, it's just so bad. The controls in this game, like I mentioned, they suck. I mean, to drive, you hold X. That is simple. And you can hop by pressing the R1 button, and you can do power slides, which are like the modern Mario Kart power slides, but they're, you know, the ultimate part of the boost is extremely short. And there's not really much more. You can brake with square and reverse with square, and you use L1 to shoot items, but that's it. And you can look behind you by holding R2, and you can change the map to a speedometer by pressing the L2 button, and you can also move your view by pressing the triangle button, but other than that, that is practically it for the controls, and they suck. The drifting is so slippery, the turning is stiff when you're not sliding around the place with the power slide, and do not be surprised if you hit walls again and again and again and again and again. And if you do accidentally hit a wall, recovering isn't that easy. It's just annoying. And the more I have to complain about the controls, the more I get angry, and oh my god, can't we just talk about something else now? Ah, the AI. Now let me just say that the AI in this game is mixed. Now when the AI isn't really trying that hard, this game, while it doesn't become good, it doesn't become as bad as it sometimes is. But when the AI gets tough, man, they get tough. The AI can be so cheap sometimes, and as for the items, there's nothing to talk about. There's the green/red shell rip-off acorns, as well as the teacup, and the frog power-up, which is like the most overpowered thing ever, as well as the invincibility. But that's it. There's barely any power-ups in this game. You can't even power them up, unlike you can in Diddy Kong Racing. There's just a few lame power-ups, which while they help, they can sometimes be overpowered, and I can't even tell you how annoying it is when you get turned into a frog and then get driven over, and then you may have got hit by some acorns, and so the AI just constantly hits you. I mean, I know that cheap AI is a thing that's in loads of car races, but it's extremely annoying, and the game becomes unbearable when the AI is being annoying, and this game is really hard because the AI can be absolutely cheap, and the not so perfect controls, and this game is just, oh my god. And there's also coins which practically act like the modern Mario Kart coins, except that, you know, you don't actually get car parts with them, and I still barely noticed the increase in speed. And it's so good when the AI lets you win. It's just so satisfying. But then the AI might beep you up, and that can be so annoying. And man, I've just had enough about this game. I don't think there's anything else to talk about. If you want to see me get angry at this game, go watch my Let's Play. And, I don't want to talk about this game anymore. The only replay value this game has is that you can go into time trials, try to beat your best times, and you can beat the adventure mode 105%, but that's not worth it. And oh my god, this game is just horrible. And if I have to hear that stupid rendition of It's a Small World ever again, trust me, stuff is going to happen. Stuff will go wrong. I will beat things up, and you won't like it. And while the music is mostly mixed, well, it's all mixed, the songs are usually good, but there are some mediocre ones and some really, really annoying ones, so let me just tell you that. It was pointless, but whatever. Overall, this piece of beeping beep is a piece of beeping beep. That's what I have to say. I mean, while the graphics, despite the terrible frame rate, are actually quite good, and the music, while mixed, can still be good sometimes, the rest of this game is awful. The tracks are awful, the characters are awful, all the AI is awful, the controls are awful, everything in this game, with a couple of exceptions, is just awful. This game is awful. I do not recommend you buy this game. I don't care how cheap you find it. It's actually not that cheap. So, don't buy this game. I don't care what price you find it for. Avoid this game like the plague. It is one of, if not the worst racing game I've ever played. That's right, it's the worst. I bet if I play Big Rigs Over the Road Racing, I want to enjoy it more than this game. This game is an F-. This game is awful. This game cannot exist. This is awful. I'll deal with that in a bit. And basically, if you want a good kart racer, play any Mario Kart game. They're great. Well, with the exception of the first one, which I don't like, as in Super Mario Kart. But the rest are pretty good. And if you want a good kart race on the PS1, Crash Team Racing, that's a great game. I definitely recommend you pick up Crash Team Racing. It's amazing. In fact, I love it so much that I even own the Japanese version. So, yeah, that is determination. And if you want a good kart racer from that generation, which isn't on PS1, Diddy Kong Racing is your perfect choice. There's also Mario Kart 64, but Diddy Kong Racing's better. But PS1 Kart Racer Crash Team Racing, not that piece of beep down there. In fact, even Muppet Race Mania is better than Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour. While Muppet Race Mania does control awfully and the track design is awful, at the very least, it's original. It's got creative ideas, it's got a ton of content, it's got a lot of content that will make you come back and play it. At least it has a lot more replay value. And while this game is still incredibly flawed, at the very least, it's got a lot to do, and there's a lot of characters, and there's a lot of tracks, and it's creative, and beep like that. But, other than that, avoid this game. Well, those aren't even this game, but whatever. Just avoid this game like the plague. And as for the other versions, I'm pretty sure that the Dreamcast and PC versions are the exact same game. In fact, I've seen gameplay, they are the exact same, just with better graphics. And as for the Game Boy Color version, believe it or not, but it's actually not that bad. No, really, I'm being serious. The Game Boy Color version looks okay for a Game Boy game. The music's okay for a Game Boy game. It's not the best sound Game Boy Color game, but I do kind of like the sound. The controls work, and overall, it's more enjoyable than the console version. The console version is just awful. Avoid the console version, and you can even get, and you can even find the Game Boy Color version for free online, so go and do that if you're curious. But anyway, thanks for watching my first negative review since Eminem Shell Shocked. I hope you liked it. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. I don't want to play this game ever again. Ever. I hate this game, and I'm sorry to all of the people who like this game, but I'm going to give this game what it deserves. Properly. I'm sorry, Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour, but you're too bad for me to bear. At the same time, I don't want to do this, but at the same time, I kind of want to, and I can't decide. Oh my god, I don't know whether I should do this. It's just so hard to decide, and I just can't decide. I'm doing it. I'm definitely doing it. Goodbye, Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour. There, I broke you. There's my broken copy of the game in the bin. I'll never have to play that piece of beep again. Ever. Well, it's dead forever, so that's good. Anyway, goodbye! Goodbye, Walt Disney World Quest Magical Racing Tour. I will always remember you for sucking.